I don't have a PPT for this. Okay. Okay, I don't have a PPT. From the next class I'll give you. So we know that everybody knows what tomato ka scientific name, and in exam they will ask you. Can anybody tell me the scientific name of tomato, please?
Lycopersicum esculentum.
Can you tell the spelling, please?
Yes, ma'am. Capital Lycopersicum, Lycopersicum, space, small s, small e s.
Just a second. Lycopersicum का spelling बताइए. SI
CUM.
COM.
CUM, ma'am.
COM. M for monkey बोल रहे हैं आप.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Very good. Very good that you, without taking the name itself, you yourself came up and told the scientific name of tomato. Very good. But you are exactly wrong. Scientific
Ma'am,
name.
it is CON. Lycopersicum esculentum.
Esculenta. Esculenta का spelling बोलिए बच्चा आप. No, the one who Bhavesh, I think, who was telling the spelling. Please don't Google. Don't Google now and tell me the spelling, Bhavesh, of esculenta. अभी क्या होता है कि पीपल इंटरनेट कनेक्शन का प्रॉब्लम आ जाता है. बोलिए.
ESCULLANTUM एस्कुलेंटम लाइकोपर्सिकम एस्कुलेंटम है वो.
हाँ, इससे पहले आपने एस्कुलेंटम नहीं बोला था, आपने एस्कुलेंटा बोला था.
मैम ड्यू टू नेटवर्क इशू.
या आई नो यार, मैं भी क्लासेस में ऐसे ही बोलती रहती हूँ. डोंट वरी. ओके, तो क्या हुआ यहाँ पे आपका. दिस इज अ वेरी स्मॉल थिंग. द साइंटिफिक नेम दैट टू ऑफ अ मेजर क्रॉप दैट इज टोमेटो. एंड व्हाट इज द स्पेलिंग दैट आई एम गेटिंग फ्रॉम पीपल. सो आपको पढ़ाई में कितना ध्यान रखना चाहिए, कितना ध्यान आपने रखा हुआ है, प्लीज कॉन्सेंट्रेट ऑन दैट थिंग फर्स्ट. I don't have that. बच्चा एक था. I want him to join the class because he asked me a lot of times. He hasn't come. Just a second, I'll make a message to him. Maybe he hasn't seen.
मैम अनुपम.
हाँ, वो बच्चा पूछ रहा था ना, तो उनके लिए.
He has a university class at this time.
वो तो 6 से 7 फ्री बोल रहा था.
मैम he was just messaged me.
ओयो. हाँ ठीक है, मैं ठीक है. I will send him some recorded class. Okay then. Okay. तो आपने साइंटिफिक नेम ऑफ टोमेटो के बारे में ही नहीं है. दिस इज नॉट अबाउट द साइंटिफिक नेम, बट इट इज हाउ नीटली यू रीड. ओके, यू डोंट गेट अपॉर्चुनिटीज अगेन एंड अगेन. यू हैव टू रीड वेरी नीटली. आपको बहुत अच्छे से पता होना चाहिए. एंड क्या होता है, बिफोर इट वाज द नोमेनक्लेचर, द नेम ऑफ टोमेटो वाज सोलानम लाइकोपेर्सिकम. Okay, this initially the name, हम सबको पता है nomenclature and all the scientific names and all. Linnaeus, साइंटिस्ट लिनियस ने दिए थे, लेकिन उन्होंने लिनियस ने टोमेटो का भी नाम दिया था, और उनके nomenclature के अकॉर्डिंगली, लिनियस का nomenclature के अकॉर्डिंगली टोमेटो का नाम था सोलानम लाइकोपेर्सिकम. इसीलिए जब आप सोलानम लाइकोपेर्सिकम लिखते हैं, बगल में हम एल डॉट लिखते हैं. इसका मतलब है वो नाम लिनियस ने दिया था. ओके, लेकिन अभी क्या हुआ है, मिलर साइंटिस्ट मिलर ने 1768 में मिलर ने टोमेटो का नाम सोलानम लाइकोपेर्सिकम से बदल के लाइकोपेर्सिकॉन एस्कुलेंटम दिया हुआ है, जिसके वजह से हम लाइकोपेर्सिकॉन एस्कुलेंटम के बगल में लिखते हैं MILL डॉट, जिसका मतलब है मिलर ने वो साइंटिफिक नेम दिया हुआ है. और कौन से साल में दिया हुआ है, दैट इज 1768. आई एम सॉरी, मैं कुछ ज्यादा ही हिंदी में बोल रही हूँ. अगर एनीबडी इज हैविंग प्रॉब्लम विद द हिंदी, you can just remind me so that I'll get back to English. Okay, तो हम क्या लिखते हैं, लाइकोपेर्सिकॉन एस्कुलेंटम मिलर लिखते हैं. और वेरी वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, द ईयर ही हैज प्रपोज, दैट इज 1768. कब की बात है देखिए ये. मैम, I'm from Tamil Nadu, please English. Yes, definitely. So it is in the year 1768. Please, I have told this year by now some 6 or 7 times, and I want you people to memorize it here itself. Okay, and because there are a lot, this family of Solanaceae is very much big. This family has again divided into 2 subfamilies. One is Solenoidae, and the other one is Cestroidae. So this complete family of Solanaceae, in which we see this brinjal, chili, capsicum, potato, all contain X equal to 12, the basic chromosome number X equal to 12, and 2n equal to 2x equal to 24. All of them have the same chromosome number. And the Solanaceae family, which is divided into two subfamilies, Solenoidae. मैं इतने धीरे से क्यों बोल रही हूँ? Because I am not showing any PPT. That is the reason why I'm telling very slowly, because I feel by the time I'm telling you, you can just note it down, okay? And you can just assume things. That's why I'm telling you very slowly. So Solanaceae, which is divided into two subfamilies, Solenoidae and Cestroidae. So obviously, as the name itself indicates, that we have been means all the potato, tomato, whatever we are eating comes from the subfamily Solenoidae. Okay, and among the Solenoidae comes the genus in the subfamily Solenoidae comes the genus Lycopersicon. So what happened in the year 1976? In the year 1976, the scientist called hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible just now. Before there was network problem and I could not hear your voice properly.
Okay, thank you. So in the years 1976, the scientist called Rick, we know that we have heard Rick a lot of times. We have seen the book Tomato is written by, in Gloucester's also you might have come across the name Rick. So in the year 1976, the genus Lycopersicon, he divided into two groups. One is Eulycopersicon and the other one is Eriolycopersicon. So the Eulycopersicon means the colored fruits. I mean, in tomato only, those which all have colored fruits were kept in the group of Eulycopersicon. And those which were green and very hard fruits, they were kept in the group of Eriopersicon. And what happened? And this classification was again further divided. And in that, what they gave, esculentum complex means all those which can cross within each other were grouped into esculentum complex. And those which could not cross within each other were kept into Peruvianum complex. What I have told you up to now, I will just give you a very short, brief accountance of it. So Lycopersicon esculentum, scientific name was given by Miller in the year of 1768. Initially, it was Solanum lycopersicum, which was given by scientist Linnaeus. So in this Solanaceae family, it is divided into two subfamilies, Solenoidae and Cestroidae. In the subfamily Solenoidae, we have this genus called Lycopersicon. In this Lycopersicon, the scientist Rick in the year 1976 divided into two groups, that is Eulycopersicon and Eriolycopersicon. In Eulycopersicon, whatever tomatoes are colored are come into that group. Eriolycopersicon means all the green hard fruits will come into that group. Further, he again classified them and made into two groups. The one is esculentum, in which all those varieties or species that can cross within each other were grouped into esculentum complex, and those which could not cross within each other were put into esculentum, Peruvianum complex. Okay. What happens in ARS exam, mains and all, history is asked, how the scientific classification comes. They can ask all these questions in theory exam also. Why the story and all she's telling, you may think, how name comes, kya hai, exam mein kaun sa bitata hai, that is the thing. But knowing complete history, complete crop is very, very important for us. So in esculentum complex, we have 6 species. You can note down what was those 6 species. They are Lycopersicon esculentum, Lycopersicon pimpinellifolium, Lycopersicon cheesemani, and all the three means esculentum, pimpinellifolium, cheesemani are colored fruits. Okay, and in the same esculentum complex, we have 3 green color fruits also. Which are they? Peruvianum, sorry, Parviflorum, Chembi leviskai, and Hirsutum. This may sound little confusing to you, and this may be very difficult to remember, but the esculentum complex, we know that all those which are crossable within each other are placed. So in that also, again, we have the colored fruits one and the green color fruits one. In colored fruit, you have Lycopersicon esculentum, Lycopersicon pimpinellifolium, Lycopersicon cheesemani. And in green one, you have Lycopersicum parviflorum, Lycopersicum chemmileviscae, Lycopersicum hirsutum. Okay. So nextly, the Peruvianum complex, in which means the species cannot cross within each other. We have only 2. What are those 2 under Peruvianum complex? They are Lycopersicon peruvianum and Lycopersicon chilens. Okay, only 2 are there. Again, we know that this here the classification ends. You need not इतने सारे species है, what to read, what not to read. Very simple. Esculentum complex. The only things that are crossable are there. In the Peruvianum complex, those which cannot cross with each other are there. In Peruvianum, you have only 2 species, Lycopersicon peruvianum and Lycopersicon chilens. In esculentum complex, you have 6 species. In that, 3 are colored, 3 are green. So 3 colored one are Lycopersicon esculentum, that one which we usually use, Lycopersicon pimpinellifolium and Lycopersicon cheesemani. Okay, and the green ones you have Lycopersicon parviflorum, Chemmileviscae, and Hirsutum. Okay, I've ended there. The classification ends there. And nextly, we all know that Lycopersicum esculentum variety Serraciforme, which is the cherry tomato, the small tomato, is actually the ancestor tomato. So what happened initially, whatever wild things used to be there, they used to be very small, very hardy. Why they used to means what can be the probable reason that the old plants, means the wild ones, having small fruits? You tell me, anybody? Why is the fruits of wild species very small? See, not only
They grow
reading.
in wild conditions
Why
due to
do they?
environment.
No, that's what I'm telling you, that they are wild. And why do wild ones have small fruits? See, I'll tell you the answer. First one point is, wild ones are not selected by us. Means we don't prefer them. They do, wild ones, their main objective is not to feed you. Their main objective is to survive. They are wild because at any condition they can survive. So means the wild plant does not think that I should have big fruits, sweet fruits. It is the wild plant's idea is not that. The plant's idea is to survive. So if it produces big reproductive organs like fruits and flowers, then it cannot, means all the energy goes into that. So it cannot survive. The survival of the plant becomes difficult. So it stores all its energy and does not go for reproduction, but instead growing. That's why all the wild forms will have very hard structure, very small fruits. Even you see Solanum torvum and all in brinjal, wild ones, small fruits will be there. The big ones are like we have selected based. So these wild ones are widely distributed all over the country, all over the world. So what we do, we go for selection. Humans, what we want sweet fruits, we want big, attractive, good fruits. So we have been only selecting them through generations and generations and generations. So now we have those tomatoes which are round and very, like whatever market availability need is there, based on that we have tomatoes. So it is all selection. But on the selection, then based on different studies, we got to know, okay, it has come from Lycopersicon esculentum variety Serraciforme. Okay, so and you know that Serraciforme actually had crossing, outbreeding nature. That was not self-pollinated. It had inbreeding, but also it had some amount of outcrossing. It was also having cross pollination nature. That was because it has little exerted stigma. And the tomato now we have does not have any exerted stigma. Completely the anther cone covers the stigma. So, but initially there was a little outcrossing. See, if you don't understand what is anther cone, what is stigma, what is outcrossing, I cannot help you. It means you have zero knowledge and you have simply come here, and I cannot explain everything like this. That will waste others' time, that will waste my time, and it means you are not ready for this class. And if you're not, I tell very slowly, and if you're not ready for my class itself, don't expect any rank or anything. Okay, please spend your time in reading minimum things, bare minimum things. They are not basics, they are minimum things. Okay. Nextly, next what I'm telling, yes. So even the Pimpinelli folium had exerted stigma. So there are wild species which had exerted stigma, which used to have outcrossing nature also. And I'll not mention the species because in a slide I will mention, because you will get confused if I tell whichever ones had. And generally in brinjal, when how the anther dehiscence, if dehiscence is in a longitudinal dehiscence is observed in case of brinjal, but in case of tomato you have apical dehiscence. Means what is dehiscence? The anther dehiscence happens, that is generally apical in nature. Okay, the apical form it happens. And there are different, you also have to read the different crossings, means which species is crossable with which species, and if it is not crossable, whether embryo culture can be done. In some cases embryo culture is helpful, and in some cases it is not helpful. Okay, so that is also important. All this if I tell now, because I'm not showing anything, you may be confused and you will get bored, so I will not tell this. I will show you afterwards in the PPT or in my Word file that I told you. Okay, nextly, the primary center of origin. So what is the primary center of origin? Somebody in option, sometimes it may be Peru, and sometimes it may be Ecuador, sometimes it may be Bolivia region. Whatever it refers to the same region. It is like how well you read and you memorize. It is all memorizing only, no? So how well you read and memorize is very important. Andes Mountains in Peru, Ecuador, Bolivia region. Okay. And nextly, the secondary center will be the Eastern Andes. The primary center is Andes Mountain in Peru, Ecuador, or Bolivia region, and the secondary center being the Eastern Andes. Nextly, we have one of the Lycopersicum species, that is Cheesemane, that was found in the Galapagos Islands. Cheesemane was found in some other place, that was Galapagos Islands, Galapagos. Galapagos Islands. And coming to the evolution of the what you call tomato is through gene substitution. Generally what happens, I told you that some of the wild ones are cross-pollinated, means not completely cross-pollinated. They had some degree of exerted stigma, or self-incompatibility was also observed in some tomato wild species, because of which we have a lot of diversity observed. And hello, hello.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now it is audible.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what happened? They're coming to the evolution and domestication of tomato. It was through gene substitution. So as I have told you that there were a lot of exerted stigma and different behavior of the plants, because of which there is a lot of diversity that has come. And through different gene substitutions, we have the tomato that we have today. Okay, different genes have gone from one species to another species, and the human selection has come into very much effective play, that we have the tomato how we have today. Okay, so I have already told you, when you talk about evolution and domestication, you will know the ancestor species, and nextly the place of origin from where it has come, and that is very important thing. Nextly coming, this all is not important for you. And how did tomato come to India? First, what happened? Tomato came from the region of Mexico. Uh, it was first domesticated in the place Mexico, and then based on selection and all other different mechanisms, from Mexico it went to Italy, and from Italy it went to Mediterranean region, and then from America, and like that it went to European countries, Africa, Middle East, and Portugal. Like that it was roaming in the years 1500 and all. After roaming so many places, the tomato actually in the 1700s and all, it was roaming. In 1500s, it was roaming all over the world from different places. But in up to 1700s, people were thinking that tomato we should not eat. It is poisonous. They were thinking. They were so they it was not edible. They started eating it only around 1835. Okay, up to that it was thought it is poisonous. So when did it come to India? In the year 1828, it was brought by Royal Agri Horticulture Society, Calcutta, to India. Tomato was introduced to India during the British period in the year 1828 by the Royal Agri Horticultural Society, Calcutta. This the society is important, the year is important. Okay. So we know that so the basic chromosome number is the number of linkage groups. So what is a linkage group? Do you know what is a linkage group? What is the difference between linkage and what is the difference between a linkage group? So I don't want to ask because I know that I'll be disappointed with your answers. Hmm? Okay. So what is linkage? Linkage is nothing but we know that some of the genes they always segregate together. Means they will come together. Means being having a robust body, means being fat always comes with having means it. I'm just telling you an example. Maybe together, like those genes which always come together in a plant. See, green leaf is always coupled with a yellow color flower. Means all the green color leaves रहने वाले plant will give you only yellow color flower. That's why these two traits are linked. Means how many generations also, how many times you cross with anybody also. It because those two genes are in less than 5 centimorgan distance, means actually which are within 2 centimorgan distance, that is a very good distance, means those two genes are very much linked together. So they will segregate, they will come next generation to next generation like that only. There is no recombination. You don't know what is recombination, what is crossing over, what is mitosis, what is meiosis. In vegetative cells, mitosis occurs or meiosis occurs. In reproductive cells, means flowers and fruits, mitosis occurs or meiosis occurs. This is all your fate. Okay, just stay expecting class low, class low, class low. So I accept that there is 110% responsibility that we have to take a class because when you have joined. But on the other hand, disappointing or discouraging kind of students will also, it will be like, इनको बोलने से भी समझ में नहीं आएगा. Why should I waste my energy? You understand? The equal cooperation and coordination from your side and my side will only help you learn or tell better. So nextly, what happens? What are linkage groups? So we know that chromosomes are there in which the genes are placed or designed. So in those chromosomes, what happens? All those genes which are together, we put them in one linkage group. Means JoJo genes, they'll come together, they'll segregate together. Then in that chromosome, we label them as one linkage group. Okay. So there is a paper in the year 2005 by Collard. It's a very good paper when you want to know the basics of what is QTL, what is mapping, what is linkage map, how much distance should be there, so all these basic things. If you want, you have to take that Collard paper. It's such a basic paper that everybody has to read. Okay. So how many linkage groups are there? So 12 linkage groups are present in the cultivated tomato, and there are 12 chromosomes. So in that, the chromosome 1 is the largest chromosome, while the chromosome 12 is the shortest chromosome. And according to the earlier studies, there are more than 323 genes that have been identified and placed on the chromosome. Okay, a gene chromosome in this location it is present. So it has been identified, it seems. And also many different studies using different markers have helped to identify the genes, and among them some of the genes that are very important in exam point of view, I'm telling you, you have to take good textbooks, basic standard textbooks of ICR and read them. And in that, I believe Vishnu Swaroop is a very good textbook that everybody has to read. Okay, that is nothing but the vegetable science and technology in India by Vishnu Swaroop. You have to read that, and in that, whatever genes are given, I think that is the most basic and important genes. In that, I am telling you, and not reading genes means you scientific name of tomato itself we are reading wrong. Gene symbols are very, very sensitive things. Means what if it is capital, it has to be in capital. If it is a small letter, it has to be small. You should know why it is written in capitals, why it is written in smalls, why one alphabet is what you call capital, the other one is small. You should know the difference also. So in that, you have to see, I'll show you in the next class, or you can also take some books and see what are the gene symbols for the genes that I tell you, for the traits that I tell you. So in that, most important one is the HP, the high pigment one, means chlorophyll, carotenoids. So how do you decide that these genes are very important and these genes are not important? So only thing is, I tell you what we want. Our selection is most important. You won't want a gene that will give you hard fruits, that will give you less TSS, that will give you brown color fruits. You don't want the genes. Nobody will ask in exam what is that gene, even though if they identify the gene. So definitely they will only ask those genes which are useful, that are very much essential in our selection or we want in future, like non-ripening gene, never ripening gene, or the high pigment gene, or some disease resistance, all not all the diseases. Those diseases which are very prevalent and major in case of tomato, like the tomato leaf curl disease, those like Phytophthora, bacterial diseases, some important disease that are mostly attacking in Indian conditions, they will ask genes of those diseases only. Okay, even the jointless gene. So why jointless gene is important? Because the harvesting will become very easy. And in which chromosome did they identify this jointless gene? These kind of important RIN, NOR, NR gene, NR also NR, NR2 gene. And tomato mosaic virus, we have 2 genes. So all these kind of things are important, along with the male sterility, in which chromosome it has been placed and all. Okay. Nextly, if we talk, so different chromosomes of tomato means in order to study more versatilely, in more, more efficiently in tomato, what happened? The tomato chromosomes and have been allotted to different countries. You study this chromosome, you study this particular region of the chromosome, like that they have differentiated. Why do they differentiate? So that everybody has to read everything, means it will become later. So in order to make sure that all the genes are, all the chromosomes are completed, they were allocated to different countries. In that, India has got chromosome number 5. So India is studying chromosome number 5. That is also very important. Which chromosome has been allotted to India? That also they will ask you in exam. And which institute has allotted this which institute has actually allotted this process of giving the chromosome, which chromosome to read is also important. And just a second. That institute is nothing but Department of Plant Molecular Biology of sorry, Department of Plant Molecular Biology, University of Delhi, has been given chromosome number 5. And who has allotted this to us? International Solanaceous Genome Project. Okay, they have allotted this chromosome number 5. Okay. And generally UK is studying chromosome number 4, which is not important. Indian chromosome number is important. And in India also, plant molecular biology or University of Delhi is doing this study. Okay. And we know that inheritance, what happens, what are quantitative traits, what are qualitative traits, what are trait is nothing but a character, and what is qualitative and quantitative. So those genes which are governed, those characters which are governed by number of genes. Gene is also called a factor. Okay, factor का मतलब क्या है सोच सकते हो. Factor का synonym कुछ नहीं, gene ही होता है. So those characters or traits that are governed by number of genes are called as quantitative traits or quantitative characters, and those which are governed by a single gene or one or two genes, then they are called as qualitative traits. So generally those characters which are highly variable, जो environment से highly, all the characters are highly dependent on the environment. So those characters which are highly sensitive are mostly governed by many genes. क्यों ऐसे मैं बोल रही, like what can be the reason that highly variable characters are generally governed by many genes? Because what happens, because that is the reason, because it is governed by number of genes only. The effect of gene varies with place to place. Okay. Plant height, number of branches, total yield per plant, or number of fruits, fruit ka weight, pericarp thickness, number of locules. These all characters are generally governed by polygenes or quantitative traits. Means quantitative characters हैं जो polygenes means number of genes के साथ govern किए, it has been governed by number of genes. So what are like plant height, number of branches, earliness, total yield per plant, fruit, number of fruits, fruit weight, pericarp thickness, number of locules present in the fruit, all these kind of characters. And for some important characters, you should know whether it is qualitatively inherited or quantitatively inherited. And when you are going for any hybrid breeding, you should know how that character is inherited. No, if you don't know how it inherits and it's quantitative in nature, and you bring only one gene, by crossing you only bring one gene, then that character won't come, because it is governed by number of genes. So you have to bring number of genes into the hybrid that you want to develop, or that's why you should know the inheritance pattern also. Okay, what is monogenic inheritance, polygenic inheritance, or monogenic inheritance are two terms. Along with that, quantitative traits and qualitative traits. Okay. Nextly, in for male sterility also, there are MS1 to MS55. Okay, male sterility is also a single gene inherited. In that we have MS1 to MS55. There are different variants in that. In that we have this stamenless, clistogamous, positional, functional, different types of male sterility. So it depends upon the number, what kind of gene it was, that we have that kind of male sterility existing. And we have different gene symbols for the color also. Beta carotene का क्या है, crimson color fruit का क्या है, all this is very important, and you should know what alphabet has been used and in which case it is capital or it is small. Nextly, there are other genes like the Alternaria, Buckeye rot, Cladosporium, root knot nematode, powdery mildew. That's why you see these are all governed by single gene. And if you use your common sense, you may think that all those like this Cladosporia, Alternaria, or these are not very big problems now in the tomato. Why they are not very big problems? Because they are governed by a single gene. Scientists have already brought those genes into the cultivated ones. That's why there are problems. There are many places where these problems come. But there are some of the varieties or hybrids that are actually resistant because they are covered by single gene. So they have transferred the gene. In case it's a dominant gene, then it will be expressed and it will be functional for us. And nextly, in case of the viruses, the tomato leaf curl virus, in that we have two, tomato yellow leaf curl virus and tomato leaf curl virus. India, you have only tomato leaf curl virus. In other countries, foreign countries, you have tomato yellow leaf curl virus. And generally, this tomato leaf curl virus is more severe problem and it is more severe strain than the tomato yellow leaf curl virus. Okay, and generally you should know a common sense that leaf curl is transmitted by whitefly and they belong to the Bergamo viruses. In Bergamo viruses, this whitefly comes, and there are two types of whiteflies, that is monopartate whitefly and bipartate whitefly. And nextly, they will be feeding in a non-persistent manner. Means what happens? What is non-persistent manner means? If a whitefly goes and it feeds on a virus-infected plant, then it will take the virus and keep it in neck region. It will not swallow. It will keep it in neck region. And when it goes and feeds on some other plant, say it goes on to a healthy plant, then it will spit, it will inject the virus which is present in the neck region into that plant. Means it will take and it will give on the other plant, because of which what happens, yahan se virus went and it infected the healthy plant. From a healthy plant, so what happens, if once the virus is released, it is released. When it goes and feeds on the second plant, the virus won't go. You understood? So it will feed in one place and it will keep in its mouth and it will release on the other one beside the other one, which is it is feeding the next. And for the second time, third time, if it feeds on some good plants also, they might not get virus because it has already left the virus in the first plant that it has feeded. Okay. Not exactly one means one plant only, but it's like that. And nextly, so tomato germplasm, if you talk, there are a lot of centers like AVRDC, USDA, VIT, VIR, and different centers like Tomato Genetic Stock Center, TGSC. It is University of California, Davis, USA, and AVRDC is present in Taiwan, China, and USDA is present in USA, VIR, which is in Russia. So different institutes, their full forms, their location, and whatever major institutes like this Tomato Genetic Stock Center or the Solanaceous Genome Project. These are specific things that will be typically working on the crop. So you should know such institutes and the location where the institute is present. Okay. And nextly, there was a question that I asked, like which crop is more closely related to tomato? That was potato. Why it was potato is, why it is potato means because all the chromosomes of means we know that all the Solanaceae have 12 set of chromosomes. In that, all except 5, all the other chromosomes are similar for tomato and potato. We think brinjal and tomato look alike, but potato and tomato are closely related, because of which only there is a easy vascular bundle formation between potato and tomato. That is why only we have this pomato occurring. So because what is that senseless thing? Because pomato is there, that's why potato and tomato are linked. What is that? No, because they are genetically mostly similar. So there is a easy connection of means any damage happens also. Both are genetically similar. What happens, you get a damage in your skin. If I bring a dog's skin or if I bring a lion's skin and stick to you, will it patch? But similarly, if I bring you your own thigh's skin, or if your brother's skin or sister's skin and a stick, there are chances that it will stick. Why? Because you are genetically similar. There is a easy cellular connection formation. Similarly, tomato and potato are most closely similar. All the 7 chromosomes are similar for them. Only 5 are different, and that too because of substitutions occurring. Means in generation they have crossed, they have self with some, they have crossed with something, and like that. So what happened? It has substitution. Some genes have gone, some genes have come. That is substitution. Something going, something coming. Because of that, there is a small difference between tomato and potato. Okay, that's why they're easy when you graft. Also, there is an easy vascular bundle formation, so it will easily grow. And most different one, you know what? Which one is? Chili. Solanaceae में सबसे different है chili. One point, because it has very big genome size. The other one is all the plants have some alkaloid, glycoalkaloid compounds in leaf. Potato has alkaloid compounds in the leaves. tomato has, brinjal has, but did you ever hear any alkaloid present in chili leaf, in capsicum leaf? No. So chili is most different from this other Solanaceae members. Okay. So nextly, why I am telling all this? So there are different germplasm centers that you have to learn. Try to read good books, good textbooks. You have got good amount of time. And nextly, in India, the tomato improvement. India tomato was introduced in the year 1928. I have already told you it was introduced here in the year 1928. Sorry, in India, tomato was introduced in 1828 by the Royal Agri Horticulture Society, Calcutta, and improvement program, because only in just the 1800s and all people started consuming tomato. Like before that, they were not eating tomato. So the improvement of tomato was initiated in the year 1950 at IRI by Dr. H.B. Singh. Okay. He is the pioneer to undertake tomato breeding, that is Dr. H.B. Singh. Okay, after that, what I'm saying is there are different NBPGR, which is present in New Delhi, which is present within IRI only, the National Bureau of Plant Genetic Resources. So there are a lot of germplasm, around 2,900 germplasm, which is across 47 countries have been collected and kept for tomato. And there are different, like the seed banks, where they are stored at -20, and the cryo banks, there they are stored at -196. This is also what is the temperature, storage temperature in a seed bank, what is the storage temperature in a cryogen bank. So it is in seed bank it is -20 degrees, and in cryo bank it is -196 degrees. Okay, so tomato is once upon a time it was widely cultivated in open field conditions, but nowadays they are cultivated in greenhouse conditions. And in open field conditions, training and pruning activity is not so much done. Only it is trained, and it is not trained, but it is people think that these days tomato is trained even inside the polyhouse, outside in open conditions also. But outside the polyhouse, you cannot say it as training, because it is one kind of staking. It is a kind of intercultural operation. You know, all the tomato plants, if you come to Karnataka and all, where Maharashtra and all, where major tomato is grown for export purpose and good quality tomato. So in that places and all, you will find all, even in open or in polyhouse conditions, you will have only tomatoes that are staked. And in case of the hybrid seed production, you generally go for isolated areas, or in what you call this the polyhouse conditions or greenhouse conditions and all. In one class, I have told you what is the difference, what is a polyhouse, what is a greenhouse and all. If you remember, it's well and good. If you don't remember, I can't, nobody can help you. So what happens when I have told you that selection has played a very important role. So what selection has happened? How did you select? So there are different breeding objectives, because of even today we go for selection. Even today we have certain strategy, like this is how our tomato plant should be there, or this is how my tomato fruit should be there. So what are those characters? Every buffalo will write the increased yield, resistant to pest and diseases, resistant to abiotic and biotic diseases. What is the difference between you and a buffalo? So you have to write only important points. What is the size and fruit weight? That is 80 to 90 grams is the preferred size of the fruit weight. 80 to 90 grams. Okay. And the fruit shape will be oblong or square round. Why square round and oblong means? Because both of the shapes are more suitable for transportation. Okay, oblong and square round. And the fruit should be able to develop into red and deep red color. So how red the tomato is, we will go to the market and we will pick up those kind of tomatoes only. No, we will not pick up if it is orange and all. We think it is some scald and all. And nextly, it should have good shelf life and slow in ripening, because slow in ripening means you can keep it for a long time. So slow in ripening with good shelf life. And very important thing is, what should be the pericarp size? pericarp should be thick with 0.5 centimeters. If pericarp, what is the pericarp? What is a periderm? What is endoderm? What is pericarp, endocarp, exocarp? All this, if you don't know, and it's not my fault. Okay, the pericarp should be 0.5 centimeters thick, because if the thick flesh is there, it means the what happens if you will get more pulp, one point. And second important point is, you can mark, if you market it, if you want to send it to far distance, you can easily send it without any damage. And nextly, so the pericarp should be 0.5 centimeters thick, and number of locules should be more or less. The number of locules should be less. It should be only 2 or 3 locules is preferred. More number of locules is there means more gap is only there. What is the use? You are getting nothing. So it should have less number of locules of 2 to 3. Then the fruit will be very firm. Then you can store it for a long time. You can transport it to far away places. So these are the important points you should tell. Not yield jasti, first kammi. This is not the points you have to write. And nextly, how the sugar should be there. The sugar, the pericarp, because if we are telling that we should have thick pericarp, then where the sugar should be there? The sugar should be high in the pericarp than in the locule. That is a logic. We are telling locule should be come, and it should be less, and the pericarp should be thick. Definitely all the sugars or organic acids that you want should be there in the pericarp region than the locular region. And the acid content in the locular tissue has predominant influence on the fruit flavor. So whatever, if you cut the fruit in the locular region, some tomato ka liquid tara you get. That liquid has some acidity. That acidity gives the flavor to the tomato. So generally we see Natu tomato or the local tomato, where they'll be very tasty because they'll have more locular space in which lot of jelly like thing will be there, because of which regulates its acidity. The liquid ka acidity regulates the taste of the tomato. And nextly, what other diseases and all, but what are the major diseases, resistance against those diseases, and having types, plant types like determinate, indeterminate, and semi-determinate type of plants, so that they can be used in a certain, means in that particular location. Based on the location it can be used. And resistance to abiotic stresses. When you talk about abiotic stresses, you should be able to mention in brackets like the cold temperatures, high temperatures, drought, salt, because tomato is highly sensitive to temperature. In that particular temperature only color development, particular temperature only the flower set, pollination occurring. So temperature you have to mention in when you put the abiotic stress point. And coming to the tomato, we have this processing standards, like how the processing tomato should be there. The TSS should be very high, which should be 5.5. Acidity should be 4.3. Titerable acidity should be 0.4 to 0.5. Solid to acid ratio is 15. Sugar to acid ratio is 8.5. Viscosity, the alcohol insoluble solids should be high. Viscosity is measured in terms of alcohol insoluble solids. So that what is how much amount of alcohol insoluble acid should be present in tomato. You don't know what is alcohol insoluble acids, you get panic. No need to panic. It is nothing but it is a measure of viscosity. So it should be thick, it should be viscous. Then only you can make ketchup, sauce, tomato paste and all. No, already if it is like water, what you will make? So the viscosity, which is measured in terms of alcohol insoluble solids or AIS, should be high. The fruit color should be high. Means it should not. When you say the fruit color is high, it means it is high in useful pigments such as lycopene, beta carotene. So you also have color, means you have some health related compounds also. And nextly, volatiles means the flavor containing compound. So what is a flavor containing compound in tomato? It is 2-isobutyl thiazole. What is it? 2-isobutyl thiazole. The flavoring content compounds should be high along with methyl salicylate and eugenol compounds. So coming to the breeding, So there is a lot of introduction in case of tomato. We all know why introduction is there, because it's not a native to India. So all those which come from introduction, those species may be directly released as use of varieties. Or what happens, they, because we don't know how they will perform, so what they will do, they will raise such plants, and they will select which are adapted to our conditions. They will select, and then based on selection, means the introduced varieties, when they are grown in India, they will see how they are performing and they will select, and then again they are released. So like that, the important introductions are Siox, Red Cloud, Marglobe, Best of All, Moneymaker, Droff Moneymaker, Labonite, Rutgers, Fireball, Roma, Pearson, uh, Chico Grande, Balkan, etc. etc. And in India, for the first time in the year 1956, from IRI, Pusa Ruby was released through hybridization, which is a very famous variety, Pusa Ruby, even today also, which was released in 1956, means before our parents were born, when our grandparents were young. In that stage only, Pusa Ruby was released, and even till date, it is sold. It is in the market. Siox into improved Miruti, and Pusa Early Drop, which is improved Miruti into Red Cloud. Like that, some of the crosses are there, which you see in every book. You have to memorize those crosses. You have to memorize those varieties. So I have told you some of the varieties are introduced to India, and after selection, they are released. And based on the performance in Indian conditions, they are selected and released. Like that only, Arka Vikas came from the variety Tip Top. Arka Saurabh came from Canada, from a variety called V685. And Arka Ahuti came from Ottawa 60. Arka Ashish came from California, UC 83B. And the Kovan, Kotu, they came from Russian introductions. So like that, we have different means those which are selected after introductions, and also we have some of the hybridizations, and also we have the mutation. So from the local type, some of the mutations are also there, and which you have to remember. That is like the PKM1 come from Annaji from Tamil Nadu, and Co3 comes from Marutan, which is also called as the from the variety Co1. The Co3, which is also called as Marutham, came from Co1 variety, mutation of Co1. So like that, hybridizations and all you have to remember about. And there are only two interspecific hybrids. What is an interspecific hybrid, intraspecific hybrid, intergeneric hybrid, intrageneric hybrid? You don't know? Go to hell. I can't help such people. Just coming and listening to story will not help you. You have to do your own work also. So what is that? So there are only two interspecific hybrids. I feel so bad when you don't put your efforts and completely depend on others for your things to happen. I feel so bad. These are like, you may think I've talked very rudely or rashly, but I am not talk. I don't want you people to be lazy. That's why I'm telling you. It's like you should know that you don't know things and you have to work in your free time. And keeping statuses, I see the student status. I like, you will hide me from now after I said like this. All the gaadi, all the ready hoke rakhna. What is this? What will help you? You are wasting your time. You can do afterwards, but it's your personal thing. It's your wish how you use time. I'm not bothered. Okay, read. Interspecific hybrids are there are only two. That is the H24, that is also called as Hisar Anmol, which is resistant to leaf curl, and it has evolved from Lycopersicon esculentum into Lycopersicum hirsutum. And the Pusa red plum, which came into existence with the cross of Lycopersicon esculentum into Lycopersicon pimpinelli folium. Okay, these are only two interspecific hybrids that you have to remember. And there are different back cross and even double back cross, and mostly it is an self-pollinated crop. So the single seed descent method, double seed descent method, all these have very much important role for the varieties that hybrids that we use today. Okay, and what is combining validity, what is GCA, what is SCA, and where GCA comes to play, where SCA comes to play, all this you have to know. You read. Only reading a crop will not help you. Crop by itself has not evolved. Breeding has come into crop. Processing means post harvest has come into crop. Every aspect, every science has come into the crop science. So only you are reading that crop. So you have to be aware. You should know what is status. Because of statistics only, we are thinking that this is profitable, this is not profitable, this is good, this is bad. You are making decisions. So what are the statistics? What are the designs? How you do not directly go and put seed in the field. You go what is LSD, what is CRD, the basic things, what are advanced designs, which case when we will go, how hybrids are released. Directly we don't release, okay, this is performing, how these trials and all are done. What is a check? All these are important. You have to not only read the crop, but it is a combined science that you have to read, okay? Um, Next, in India, the first F1 hybrid was Karnataka. The name of the hybrid was itself Karnataka, and it was given by Indo-American Hybrid Seed Company in the year 1973. The year is important, the company is important, the variety hybrid name is important. Okay, and nextly, almost 51% of the total area under tomato is cultivated under the hybrids only, and hello. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay. 51% of the area under tomato is cultivated by F1 hybrids only. And nextly,
Ma'am, 51 or 31?
51 bacha.
Okay, ma'am.
You have to read textbook. You should not read instant. Okay,
Oh,
then you will
okay, ma'am.
understand.
Okay,
There are
okay, ma'am.
textbooks and you have to read different papers if you have doubt. Then take 2020, 2021 ka paper which says how much is the area under hybrid seed conditions in tomato in India. You see, then you will see the percentage, no? And 2021 ka exact percentage you will get. It is
Okay, ma'am.
51%. Okay,
Yeah.
next is breeding. Coming to the breeding for abiotic and biotic stress conditions. So there are what are the different somebody asked you to write a short note on breeding for biotic and abiotic stress. Then what you will write? Breeding for abiotic and biotic stress. You should know the sources which is resistant to what. Then you can write in your answer that this is resistant to this, and that particular gene is governed by polygenes, or it is monogenic, or it is quantitative trait or qualitative trait, and it can be transferred by this mechanism, by back crossing or by pedigree method. So that you have to write. All that content is expected when your question is asked like breeding for biotic and abiotic stress. So for that, most important thing is you should know what is a particular source for a particular disease, pest, not pest actually, for that particular disease or problem for us. Okay, so so what is Hirsutum, Peruvianum, Pinelli, Cheesemane resistant for some are drought resistant, some are rain-fed condition also they will come, some are nematode resistant. Like that, you will have to memorize all the things. Nextly, I have already told you the Cheesemane, Pimpinellifolium, Chilens, Hirsutum. So every species and their particular trait, what is resistance or anything you have to know. And coming to abiotic stresses, the heat tolerant one, so we all know that Pusa hybrid 1 sets fruit at high temperatures of night 28 degrees. Pusa Sadabahar sets at a range of 6 to 30 degrees. And Sobor Sufala, even in the salt conditions, the seed can germinate in Sabor Sufala. And Arka Vikas will grow under moisture stress conditions. This Lycopriscum hirsutum is for cold tolerance. So Pusa Sheetal is for low temperature, that is 8 degrees. So like that, all this also, you have to know the variety or hybrid that has come and from where the source has been taken. That also you have to know. Then only you can identify. And coming to processing, under Indian conditions, no particular hybrids or varieties are in specific released for processing conditions, but Arka Saurabh, Arka Gaurav, and Narendra Tomato 2, which is also called as NDT 120. This NDT 120 is most preferable for making tomato paste. So they'll ask which of the following is most suitable for making tomato paste. This is a question that has already come many times and may come in further also. That is NDT 120, which is also called as Narendra Tomato 2. Okay, these are the few hybrids that are recommended for the Indian conditions for the processing point of view. And coming to the biotechnology, so as there are many species in tomato which are incompatible, like the Esculentum group, when if you cross with the Peruvianum group, then they don't set fruits because there is some embryo abortion happening. So in between, there are also they use protoplast fusion, and also some other species also they use so that the crossing can be successfully done. These all kind of things also you have to know. And in case of not only protoplast fusion between Lycoplascum esculentum and Peruvianum, but there are other biotechnological advances such as the genetic engineering point of view. Tomato is very important, where you will see that the Helicoverpa armigera, that is the fruit borer, which is a lepidopteran pest. So for that, we know that this BT is used. The BT has come. So we have this BT, that is Bacillus thuringiensis protein inhibitors, the delta endotoxin, that which is in insecticidal protein, delta endotoxin, which is taken from Bacillus thuringiensis, and what the action of it, what happens is all also you have to read. And nextly, resistance for coat protein mediated. What is coat protein mediated? Basic things. When you're reading it, you do not go for complete virology, complete pathology. But what is coat protein mediated mechanism? You can just Google it. You will understand, okay, it is the excessive secretion of the coat protein because of which the movement of virus becomes difficult. All this you have to just, what is antisense technology? Because of the polygalactourinase antisense gene, the flavor saver tomato has been produced. What is a flavor saver tomato? Means it has a higher shelf life. It does not ripe. So it is a biotechnological advance where the ripening by polygalactourinase antisense gene technology has been used. So what is an antisense technology? What is flavor saver? So these and all you have to just to Google and know. You cannot wait for others, or you cannot wait for your instant or glosses to tell you everything. You also put your own effort sometimes. And you will be seeing in BT also CRY1A gene, CRY1AA gene, AC gene. So what is that? That is BT gene CRY-AC that was introduced in tomato for the Helicoverpa armigera. Okay. And there are also genes like CTXB and TCP, which has been taken from the Vibrio cholera, the cholera disease causing genes, are used to produce edible vaccines. So edible vaccines from tomato, if you eat, it is like an edible vaccine for that Vibrio cholera. Like what you do for coronavirus vaccine is nothing but a mild strain of the same virus, no, so that the antibodies are activated in our body. Like that, for Vibrio cholera, for the cholera disease also, there are transgenes used for producing edible vaccines. Okay, and the chitinase, what is the role of chitinase for fungal diseases? Glucanases, these are all, what are they? These are different secondary metabolitic agents that are produced by, which will be help for defense mechanism. So the what are those compounds? Do those compounds have any role in tomato breeding and all? Also you have to know. And coming to there are different in case of the fruit genes, the genes and all the symbols and all are very sensitive, and you have to learn everything. And coming to production and area and production technology, we are very well known about the where in almost all the parts of the country tomato is grown. Very important is the climate in that temperature, that is 21 to 24 degrees for plant growth, and below 16 and above 27 the plant growth is very much harmed. And the seed will germinate best if the soil temperature is 30 degrees, and the germination is heavily affected if the temperature goes below 10 degrees and above 35 degrees. And nextly, if the day temperature is more than 40 degrees, also the plant is very much affected. Under low light intensity, drought, excess soil moisture, frost conditions, these all also affect the plant. It is very sensitive to all the environmental factors. Very important is the temperature. What are the night temperatures? What are the day temperatures? What are color development temperatures? So all that you have to by heart. The night temperature should not be below 13 or above 32, and optimum range of night temperature is 15 to 20 degrees. So there are some exceptions like the cold set, the hot set, where we have to remember the temper means what are the varieties that are produced for performance under varying temperature conditions. Next is coming to soil. So neutral soil of 6 to 7 is most ideal. And coming to the seed rate, generally the local types for 1 hectare, 250 to 500 grams of seed will be enough. In case if it is a hybrid, 150 to 175 grams of seed is enough. It actually depends upon the soil conditions, on the hybrid vigor of the seed, on the climatic conditions, everything. The seed rate actually varies. But in exam point of view, it is 250 to 500 grams for the local types, and for hybrids, because they are highly vigorous, they take more nutrition from the soil. They are they have to be less seed rate because they are spaced more apart, because in soil they should not compete. So they are 150 to 175 grams. And coming to the sowing and the planting season, there is a varied, in case it is grown all the 3 seasons of the year. In January, Feb, it is grown. It in rainy season, June, July, it is grown. In September, October, winter season, it is grown. But highly susceptible is the Jan Feb sown crop, because the main crop, because if you sow in Jan and Feb, by the time in March you will transplant it, and in April, May, the crop will be in yielding condition, full ready crop will be there. What happens? The sucking pests and all attack will be very much more, and this leaf curl virus, because whitefly is a sucking pest, which will and if under high temperatures, the sucking pest activity increases, the pests will reproduce highly, and you will get this disease, leaf curl effect full. And then especially in case of Punjab and the Indo, the to avoid the spring summer, because they will be going for late planting in Punjab, Haryana regions. They will be going for late planting, especially because of this problem of leaf curl. And nextly, coming to the seedlings, so depending upon the vigor of the seedlings, it may be taking 1 week to germinate, and 30 to 45 days old seedlings are generally transplanted. And even in case of some hybrids, in 20 to 25 days itself, they will be ready. Okay, and in case of ridges and furrow, how a ridge is prepared, how a furrow is prepared, how a flat bed is prepared, these are basic things you have to read from basic horticulture book. And also the spacing kind of thing, it is 60 to 75 into 30 to 45 centimeters for determinate types, and 75 to 90 into 45 to 60 for indeterminate types. Indeterminate types are highly vigorous. They produce more number of fruits. They have a longer life than the indeterminate types. That's why they have to be spaced very away, so that from soil it can take more nutrition. In soil, competition should not be there. Okay, and if you go for closer spacing, high density planting, what happens? The fruit size will reduce. Okay, and generally it is mostly recommended to go for crop rotation, because all the Solanaceae crops have the common pests like the borers and all. So you should not always repeat a Solanaceae with a Solanaceae. So, okay. And nextly, the chemicals like the nutrition has a very nitrogen and phosphorus will be influencing the TSS acidity, reducing sugars and ascorbic acid, whereas potassium will be influencing the lycopene content of the fruits. Okay, potassium for lycopene, and nitrogen and phosphorus for the other things like TSS, acidity, reducing sugars, all the biochemical things. Okay, and coming to micronutrients, generally we know that the calcium deficiency is very much predominant. So for that, you have to go for calcium based fertilizers. Coming to pruning and training, which is mostly followed in case of indeterminate varieties, because every third node comes into flowering and fruiting. So that is more important in case of the indeterminate types. And mulching, other intercultural operations, sowing, aeration, that all are I will not tell anything. And nextly, When you go for harvesting is very important because in tomato we have mature green stage, pink stage, breaker stage, hard ripe stage, and fully ripe stage. The breaker stage also you have two types. When the fruit has 1/4 break, means color development, and when the fruit has 3/4 color development. In breaker also you have two. And in breaker of pink stage, you go for short distance transportation, and mature green stage, you go for long distance transportation. Whereas red color for local markets and fully ripe for processing. Hard ripe for local market and fully ripe for processing. Pink stage or breaker stage for short distance transportation, mature green for the long distance transportation. Very, very important. Coming to the storage, we should never store our tomatoes in the refrigerator. They should always be kept outside because chilling injury will occur because the temperature of a fridge is 4 to 7 degrees. So we should not keep in fridge. We should keep it outside. If you want a longer shelf life, the temperature is 12 to 14 degrees. You have to keep. Then it will you can store it for 7 to 21 days. And if already the tomato has become very ripe, then you have to keep it in more cold temperature, like 4 to 8 to 10 degrees, but below 8 degrees you should not keep at all tomatoes, so it should not go into the fridge. Okay. So if you have somewhat mature green and little red color, then you can keep in 12 to 14 degrees for 7 to 21 days. Whereas if it is fully ripe, then you go and store it in 8 to 10 degrees, and you can store it for 4 to 7 days. Okay. And nextly, coming to the yield, you have the open pollinated varieties will yield up to 20 to 30 tons per hectare, whereas the average hybrid will yield around 65 to 75 tons per hectare. So where is 20 to 30 tons? Where is 65 to 75 tons? There is almost 40 tons of difference. Okay, 30 to 40 tons of difference. So you have to remember that also. And here with this, I will complete tomato. I have told a lot. You have any doubts in tomato? Everybody is like bored and went off. Okay.
No, ma'am.
Okay. There was
Ma'am,
Yeah.
ma'am, one term is there when I read something. Ma'am, what is patromorphy? It is observed in tomato.
Patromorphy is not only observed in tomato, it is also observed in pole crops. It is the effect of pollen on some development. I don't know properly. It is also observed in pole crops, patromorphy. I will tell you in the next class. I will read and tell you. Anything else?
Okay.
Anything else, Bacha? Or I will end the class. Very long class. No, sorry. I
Ma'am,
bored.
Cestrodiae subfamily.
Hmm.
What's the basic chromosome number of that one?
All the members of the Solanaceae
12,
family have
24, 12 only.
yeah.
Solanaceae and Cestrodiae will be same.
They are subfamilies of the
Yes,
same.
yes, ma'am. Yes.
So
Chromosome number in related to chromosome.
24 only. 24
Okay.
only. Anything else? Anybody? So it's very long class, no? I'm sorry for boring you. Okay. If you have any doubts, you can personally message me. I know tomorrow I'll not take a class because I have to complete some other crop and tell you, no. So okay, huh? And I'll take day after tomorrow. Okay. Okay, guys.
Okay, ma'am. Thank
I'll end the meet. Okay. Bye.
you.